That's great.
Hey, let's talk about something you and I have been doing more of lately.
What
These
is it?
tech reviews, equipment
Yeah.
reviews, stuff like that. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking you're good at this. I'm thinking that here's why I haven't done more of them. Because when I got asked to do a tech review, I then ran to YouTube, saw a bunch, and then decided to try to copy their format because I was like, that's what you're supposed to do. But I know what Tony's going to tell me is like, you need to do it however you would do it. Right. So I haven't done more because of my own fear. But this is a brilliant marketing strategy for tech companies, right? This used to happen a lot in radio too. People would be like, hey, we have a new company in town. Let's send over food to the radio station. Brilliant, because I'm going to eat it. Then I'm going to walk in the studio and be like, hey, man, thanks to Steve's Pizza. Their stuff's great. They're on Market Street. Go get them. I think it's great. I think it's a really great way to, because that's what people want, right? I liked Amazon's feature where you get to look at the reviews and you see all the 5-star reviews, and they installed the button where you could see all the 1-star reviews. And you look at that, but you're like, why are they bitching? Is it a reasonable bitch or not? So I think they're brilliant. You've done a bunch of these. Why did you start and why do you continue?
Yeah. Again, this is low hanging fruit. This is like the easiest thing. This was years ago. I remember the first time a company sent me a product and they were like, hey, take a look at this. Let me know what you think. To give people context, basically, every single marketing department, every single company, it started small. Now all the big ones, they're looking for influencers. They're looking for people that have even a small community, 100 subscribers, just any kind of reach, to put their products out there, put their products in their user's hand. And so user generated content, UGC, it's really growing in popularity. So I've got 5 or 6 products sitting on my desk at the clinic almost at any given time. I don't do videos on all of them. I just don't, partly because they're not great products. I remember one that stands out to me. It was a suction cup device, just like regular cupping, that also included eStim. I was like, this is awesome. This will be so much fun. I'll totally do it. I don't care. Yes, it's placebo. I'll explain it's placebo. That's fine. The product just didn't work. So I didn't release any videos on the product.
So hold on a second. Now I want to go to the dark side. Shouldn't you have to make sure your audience was safe from a thing you didn't think was good?
This is true. This is true. I hadn't considered that side of it. And then I just got so busy.
That's why a lot will say like, I don't take any money for this because then I don't owe the company something. I'm doing this. And then you have to understand like do you know MK Marquis Brownlee, MKB? He got into a big thing because he trashed something. He trashed something. And people were like, you're just doing that for views and I was like, but he's not beholden. This isn't an ad. He's doing a review. And if you give him something he doesn't like, everything's opinion.
Right.
He sort of took it upon himself, whether he was doing it right maliciously or not. He trashed a thing and people were like, you're not supposed to do that. You're only supposed to just do stuff I like. That's not a review. That's an ad. We've now crossed back over into ad.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And truthfully, I've considered, I had started a couple product review channels that were dedicated product review channels. They fell off the rails. I just never kept up with them. My intent there, and I've done this multiple times where I don't want a free product. I will buy the product. I will spend my own money because I want to give an objective, non-biased opinion of the product. So usually in my videos, I'll always say like, this was given to me, this was gifted to me, or I purchased this. And so historically, what I've always done across multiple channels is when I buy the product, if I like the product, I will review the product. No compensation from the company for those videos. And then in other videos, they reach out, they send me the product for free. If they want to buy licensing and rights to the video, we negotiate a rate for that. But I always disclose that this is a paid product review, paid product endorsement.
I was going to say that. Say it up front. I like the comment that just came in. Who is that? Scott? Is his name Scott?
Yeah, Scott.
Health mention. I like people who do the opposite. Scott is mentioning instead of doing the best of content, do the worst of content. Do you know where the best ideas for headlines or concepts or formats come from? We all have to buy food. A lot of us buy from a supermarket. Look at the magazines. We can make fun of supermarket checkout magazines all day. but they understand how to gain the first, second, or two of attention. And that is not a small thing. So if you say like 6 steps to a summer bod and you put that article out in, March or February, understand their pain point. A pain point in terms of worst of or best of content, both, they're just two sides of the same coin, is I'm afraid of investing in something and it not do. We've all been that. I bought this thing, it's going to revolutionize my life, and it didn't. And then you look at it on the countertop and you're like, oh, if only, and then you have a friend come in 6 months later. Oh, you bought that? I bought that too. It sucked. Where the hell were you 6 months ago? You could have saved me $50 and 3 hours of pain. That's valuable. That is terribly, terribly valuable.
So that's what somebody should do. Like Scott or somebody watching should create a dedicated channel to, protect the consumer, avoid useless products. Now, Consumer Reports, you guys remember that grew huge. That was, I think they got acquired. I remember watching an interview talking about Consumer Reports. Again, that was one of those things that went behind a paywall. So my family had an account. You would have to log in. It was like $100 a year membership, and you had access to unbiased reviews because the product companies weren't paying the reviewers. This was totally impartial.
So I don't think this is simple, but let's review Consumer Review's business model. Their business model, if they were trying to get rich quick, would be, hey, cell phone case companies, we're going to contact the top 100 and we're going to say it's $1,000 to be in our magazine, and we're going to review it. And if you got all 100, you make $100,000, right? But they understood what their business model was. Their business model was, I don't want to be a client. I don't want 100 clients that are cell phone cases. I want to have 1 million readers. So my business is credibility, attention, reach, knowledge. I'm preventing you from making a mistake. I'm helping you make a good decision. They understood that. It's subtle, but it's not different. It's subtle, but it's important, right? This goes back to the first conversation we had about associations. I don't think you're in the membership business. I think that's how you might generate income. And again, like the memberships, like fees for these are not huge, right? But it doesn't have to be. Even $1, if I don't feel like it's a good exchange. And I don't know if we've talked about this, but there's 3 types of exchanges. There's a negative exchange. Negative exchange we've all experienced. We're going to play a role play. Tony, you just went to a crappy movie. Okay. Hey, Tony, you went to that movie last night. How was it?
It was horrible. It was so boring.
Oh my God, really? Like, was if a phrase a lot of times we'll hear like, that's 2 hours of my life I'm never going to get back.
Yeah.
15. Notice that people say it's not $15 or $30 that I'm never going to get back. It's 2 hours of my life I'm never going to get back. Man, I wasted time. More valuable. So that's a negative exchange. That's type 1. Type 2, we're both baseball fans. Dave's a baseball fan, but he's having Wi-Fi issues. Is let's say you go to a movie and it's mayonnaise. It's Jay Leno, I call it. It's like, how was the movie? It's a baseball. It's the equivalent of tie goes to the runner. Shortstop makes a great play, throws it over the first baseman. Runner touches the base at the same time the ball hits the glove. Tie, runner's safe. That's an even exchange. Except it doesn't feel even because you're on defense. You got the ball there as a tie. How come I don't get half an out? I don't know. That's the second type of exchange. That's a neutral exchange. That's, in my book, not to knock Hellman's. That's warm mayonnaise. Jay Leno. There's a third type of exchange. This is the only type of exchange you should ever be trying to bring to a customer or a client or a non-client, a potential client. And that is an exchange of abundance. That is, Tony, role play again. You went to a movie last night and it blew first time you went to see Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion, right? In the theaters 25 years ago. Tony, went to a movie last night, Romeo and Michelle's. How was it, man?
It was amazing. I laughed my head off. It was the best 2 hours of my life.
I would go again, all those different things. That is an exchange of abundance. How do you do that? So if we're putting a bow, if we're going full circle on this episode, I know it's counterintuitive if you're an association or a business or a solo practitioner or somebody who works at a big giant company. It's counterproductive if you're like, well, if you want me to do the thing, you have to pay. And that's when I begin doing that. I understand that. That is how it used to work. It doesn't work that way anymore because now that we've defined the exchanges, That was that wasn't mayonnaise, right? That person, we don't write about mayonnaise. On Yelp, we never write about mayonnaise. We sometimes write about exchanges of abundance, but hot damn, do we always write about negative exchanges? Damn right we do. That was an opportunity to get that was really great. That was Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion. Like, oh my God, I'm not even a member, and they answered my question, right?
Right.
But it comes from understanding what business you're actually in and what as an employee or a member, what you're expected to provide. I'm not expecting to provide answers. I want you to, how can I overserve this in this moment?
So as a practice owner myself, I think about that all the time. I'm like, how do I deliver $1,000 of value for $100 of cash? How do I over deliver on the experience, over deliver on the expectation? I want you to think about what you would say, but I know for me, I try to understand what's the biggest resistance to somebody coming into the clinic. Most of the time, it's fear of cost. Most of the time, they have no idea what it's going to cost.
Right.
Fear of pain. They're already in pain. They don't want to get into more pain, and they think they're going to come in and work out and, do things that are going to hurt. And it's just the time commitment. It's I've got to reserve this time, and I got to get to the appointment, and I've got time before and time after and all of this stuff. So I can't deliver $1,000 of cash value because it's not that kind of exchange. It's not business to business. It's business to consumer. So I focus on over delivering on basically those three expectations. I completely wipe away any fear of cost before they ever come in the door. I let them know if there's going to be a cost, this is the exact cost that's going to be. I guarantee it will never be more than this. It might be less. That is a system that we put in place from the first day we opened our clinic. From a fear of pain perspective, my conversation is always, look, you're barely going to do anything. We're not here to make you worse. The whole goal of today's session is for me to better understand what are the challenges you're dealing with and help you figure out a way to get to your goals. And it does not increase your pain. And then the last one is the convenience aspect, and convenience was one of our core principles when we started the business, and it's still a core principle today. How can I make this as easy as possible for you? Do you need extra hours? Do you need shorter sessions? What do you need? Do you need me to eliminate an attendance policy? So if you get a last minute, change in your schedule, you can cancel and you don't have to pay a penalty. I do everything. I bend over backward to hit those pain points, eliminate that friction. That's where I can over deliver. What do you see as something that people watching right now have the potential to deliver on the expectation for their clients?
Well, you did Tony's 3 fears for a patient, right? So I'll do a different one. I'll do the 3. Let's live do this. The 3 fears for membership. I think the 3 fears for membership are cost, right?
Yeah.
But it's not cost. So I'm going to wipe that. It's not cost because it's like, well, I should say APT is about $500 and then another section or component is like 50. I think private practice is like 100. So we're talking about a difference between 20% add-on, an upsell, right? I think the question is, I don't understand what I get. So I'm confused at what I'm buying. Therefore, I do one of 3 things. I don't buy, I buy, and I don't utilize it. And I'm confused. So in a year, when it comes up to renew, I just don't, right? Or there are some people who are buying, and I call these like, these are big opportunities. There are people who become members of associations because of hope. They're buying and they're like, I think it's sort of ambiguous. I think I know what I'm getting. And if I just keep membership, if I keep supporting, that's where I am, man. I'm a joiner. I like to be around people and I like to figure stuff out. There are people that are like diehard hopefuls. They want to belong. And this is not a trite value. This is badge value. This is what you get to wear on your jersey. Like, why am I wearing Steve Gleason's jersey, by the way, who just won the Arthur Ashe Award for Courage at the ESPYs this year? We should do a whole episode on Steve. Dude's a legend. But I think people aren't. I think if you confuse them, you lose them. And it's not true just because it rhymes. So I think organizations, you sound like you have a very clear understanding of what you're actually providing. Right? So, sorry, I get a phone call. I think you clearly understand what you're providing, and then you understand their objection, and then you communicate that it's not that. Right? I think associations, I think big companies also fall into this trap. Look at some of the major, PT organizations, and they fall into the trap because a lot of times they're run by marketers looking at PTs, going, "I need to talk about degrees and certifications." They fall into that trap a lot as well. The people who do it well talk about me, and they get a lot more. Anybody can get a first date. It's slick to get a first date. You can get quick, right? It's that second date. It's that 15th date. It's that marriage. I'm still trying to figure that one out, but I'm working on it, right?
Talking just before we wrap up, I made a connection here. So when I think of my patient, I say this a lot. Many of my patients would not come if they were paying out of pocket themselves, but because the insurance company is paying, they will come because it's on somebody else's dime. Now you can look at that and say, well, they already paid the insurance premium, so it is them paying, whatever. But when I think about membership, I think about APTA, I think about this value exchange and all of this. I won't mention the company, but we've shared screenshots of companies that are advertising you get a free APTA membership when you work for this company. And so when I look at that, it's a very similar dynamic to, okay, so the therapist gets the perceived value of the membership for free. It's being paid by someone else, so it's on somebody else's dime. Right. I do think there's a huge value there. The company gets to advertise that we're supporting the professional organization and we're doing our part to push the profession forward. The therapist gets the value of the membership without paying out of pocket for it. It kind of goes both ways there. But again, I don't know, and I'm completely ignorant, if the APTA is doing anything to incentivize these businesses to give paid memberships to their staff. I remember back 20 years ago when we were looking at this, they did not. So every team member I brought on, I had to pay the full APTA membership and whatever else. But I do think if they're not, that would be a huge opportunity to give those employers the opportunity to say, hey, we're supporting the profession.
So okay. So I don't know because I don't work for APTA, but I know this has been discussed multiple times, which is like, hey, if I'm a huge organization, like you got to help me out here. Like this isn't just I'm big, give me a discount. This is like, this is cost prohibitive. Like I'd like to do it, right? Imagine like you overserve some young budding PT and then he grows up to be a CEO. He builds a company to have 1,000 clinics. And he's still pro APTA. He's like, freaking love you guys. I'd love to. I have 4,000 PTs. I'd love to do that. But like, watch this math. Like, so I think a volume thing is something. And again, this might, I know it's been discussed, so it might actually be in play or already being done. The second part of that coin, though, needs to be, you got me into Disney World. Right? You're that random PT who starts working for a big company in Ohio. Now I'm a member. You have 12 months to earn that person's respect, admiration, value. This is Amazon Prime. I love asking a room full of people if they have Amazon Prime because everybody's hand goes up. And then I say, I need an exact dollar amount of how much you paid for Amazon Prime last year. And I get what's called rhubarb. Have you ever heard of rhubarb?
No. I mean, I know the vegetable.
So here's what rhubarb is. I was taught this by a PT professor. Rhubarb is, if you're a background actor in like a restaurant scene, you're the person at another table, they teach you to just repeat the word rhubarb. Because that rhubarb looks like it's got a bunch of random syllables. I don't know, but that's the industry term. Just keep repeating. Don't make up a conversation with the other background actor. Just say rhubarb back to each other. That's what they do, right? So when I ask a room full of people who has Amazon Prime, everybody raises their hand. When I say how much, I need an exact dollar amount within $10 of how much you paid for Amazon Prime last year, and I get rhubarb. Right? Do you want to know why that is? Because Amazon overloads on value to the point when you don't care how much it costs. You understand you're getting so much more that you will take my Amazon Prime account out of my cold, dead hands. So in this situation, if you have a company willing to pay for APTA membership or membership to anything, an app, a platform, something to use, you didn't win as the app or the association. You did not win there. You have a chance to now exchange of abundance to earn that person's undying loyalty. Put yourself in that situation. If I have a chance of losing that person, because Tony, what do we know about the cost of gaining a new customer or retaining an existing customer? Gaining a customer is infinitely more expensive than retaining and overserving an existing customer. Put yourself in that person's shoes. Have the boldness to say, I understand why they left. We failed them. And then how do we not fail the next 1,000 that we're going to get? And I think a lot of times people are stuck in this model of they don't understand what business they are or they're being expected to be in. And I think they're in the relationship business, not the membership business.
Yeah. Yeah. Parting shots. What do you got?
Well, we got to save. We were going to talk about something else in terms of signage. Front tees. We'll talk about signage. You and Dave vehemently disagree. And I love when you do that because I get to see two different opinions and then I get to form, wait for it, my own, or I get to have a dynamic opinion, which is like, well, I agree with. All right. So we'll talk about signage and building a brand. Parting shots is, if you were going to do an exercise, I would suggest sit down and ask yourself, if you had to erase the dry erase board of everything that you know right now, and we have a pretty diverse audience, right? Physical therapists, PTAs, business owners, people who work for other businesses. Doesn't matter. Just because you work for another business does not mean that you are not a brand, you are an entrepreneur, or you could be an entrepreneur. Ask yourself what business you're actually in, and then figure out how to be so damn good at that people tell their friends and their grandmothers about you so that you are overloaded. That's what business are you actually in? And your answer cannot be physical therapy. Physical therapy is a how, not a what or a why. I don't want to know what you're doing or why you're doing it, right? I want to know what business are you actually in, not how you deliver that. You don't deliver it via physical therapy. You deliver an experience, my friends. That's the business you're in. And I'd love to hear from it. So DM, comment, whatever. We could do a whole episode on people listening to this prompt and then, okay, I did that introspection, and then sharing or doing video clips or bringing them in live. We could do a whole 60 minutes on, I did that, thought about it for a week, and then I changed my mind. The two biggest compliments people can give me, not just willy-nilly, I want to earn them. I never thought about that, which says that me and Tony and Dave said something or brought something up that you'd never thought about before. And the even slight better compliment is, I never thought about that way, which means we talked about something you have thought about a lot, and we gave you a different way to look at it. I'm not trying to change your mind. I want to show you different perspectives. So ask yourself what business you're in. That's my parting shot.
I love it. I love it. And I would say for me, parting shot, the best way to really understand if you're delivering an excess in value, and it could be a two-sided direction. I give you $10, you clean my gutters. The gutter cleaning is worth more than the $10 is to me. The $10 to you is worth more than the time to clean my gutters. Like totally an excess in value on both sides. The best way to judge if that's happening is if they come back, if they stay. If the member stays a year and then renews their membership, you have exceeded their expectation and value. People hate the way I treat patients. People hate a lot of the things that I say that I do in my clinic. I don't care what people think. What tells me I'm doing the right thing is that if you look at my caseload, 70% of more of them have been patients before that are coming back for different conditions because they love what we do and they love how we do it. That's what tells me my team is doing an amazing job. So that's how I judge performance.
Yeah. If you do anything around Medicare billing, make sure you subscribe to Tony's YouTube channel, Learn Medicare Billing. That's how you find it. How many people are interacting there? And the Facebook group that goes along with it?
The channel has almost 10,000. I can't wait to pass 10,000 subscribers. The Facebook group has like 8,000 members, super active.
You charge people for answers, right?
That's right.
Questions.
No, I don't.
That's the whole idea, people. That's the whole idea. If you want an answer, come to people who are experts about it. Learn Medicare Billing. Dave Kittle, the Dave Kittle Show. Dave's having some Wi-Fi issues. I can almost hear Dave in the city murdering someone on the phone, being like, "I pay for Wi-Fi. This is my damn business, and my Wi-Fi is coming out." So Dave, we'll have you back on Tuesday as well. I'm Jimmy McKay. I changed the tagline to my show. I want your thoughts. It used to be your profession, physical therapy, great physical therapy conversations on tap.
Yeah.
I now say it's the podcast that makes physical therapists have fun and learn stuff.
I love it.
I like that one better. All right. Find me at PT Pinecast. We will see you the same time on Tuesdays and Thursdays. See ya.